Warning. Tongue and Geek contains heavy spoilers. If you haven't read, watched, or played the content being reviewed this episode, know that we will definitely spoil major plot points. Also, this show isn't for kids. We use words like and it would take too much time and effort to edit them all out. Please don't tell our moms. Hello, lovely listeners, and welcome to Tongue in Cheer. We're two more white guys on the internet. Oh my gosh, I didn't write down my thing and I've completely forgotten my track. It's Christmas time, folks, and I've not prepared for this season.
Wow.
I know.
Of all the shit you have given me for our Tongue in Free,
I do it
you
once.
Can't even come in ready and hot for Christmas.
I do it once, okay? This is our weird in-between Christmas episode anyway. Like, last year was The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is like the Halloween-Christmas merger. And this one is not even technically a Christmas film.
Technically a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it's technically an Easter film, but I don't have any interest in doing an Easter celebration.
It has Santa in it. There's snow, so it's Christmas.
We're talking about Rise of the Guardians, folks. Rise of the Guardians. The 2012 American animated fantasy action adventure film by DreamWorks. Fun fact, it was the first major American animated film directed by an African-American, Peter Ramsey, starring Chris Pine, Alec Baldwin, Jude Law.
Said Pratt.
I almost said Pratt. I almost did. Hugh Jackman. Big all-star cast, and based on the book series The Guardians of Childhood by William Joyce. Tyler, aside from that, do you want to give us any background on this one?
I do. I want to give you the background that I have seen this movie exactly twice now. Once around the time when it first came out, I guess, on streaming. Mm-hmm. And just the other day, in prep for this, I completely fucking forgot that a large majority of this movie's narrative is about fucking teeth. There's so much teeth. It's all teeth oriented, and I'm like, what the hell? This movie's so fucking weird.
Yeah. So let's maybe break down some of the general ideas here before we get into
teeth.
Just teeth. Basically, the premise is all the various mythological figures, Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, the Sandman, they are all guardians of childhood, each of them representing a different element of childhood. Santa being wonder, the Easter Bunny being hope, Sandman being dreams, and the Tooth Fairy being memories, which are apparently stored in our teeth for some reason.
It's so weird.
Jack Frost, who... Okay, let's just jump right into this. Movie is odd for a lot of reasons, and I think one of the biggest ones is that there's a lot of lore.
Much lore
that's hinted at and never fully elaborated on. So,
not to the detriment of the story necessarily.
No.
But just like it's really lore dense.
It makes you wonder a lot. Like I need to know all this extra shit, but like the movie's not giving it to me. But I want to know. Like, it's all fascinating, but I need more. So apparently, the Man in the Moon is God or something.
It's just like some kind of pagan god.
Some kind of god that like sees people who basically represent some element. For Santa Claus, it was hope. For the Easter Bunny, it was... Santa was wonder, the Easter Bunny's hope, which I'm still confused how the Easter Bunny became a guardian. What did a rabbit do, like a regular rabbit, do to embody hope well enough to become one of the guardians?
That's a good fucking point.
Because towards the end of the movie, they revert back to like their weakened forms, and he's just a regular rabbit. He can still talk, but like, what did a regular rabbit do to embody hope? He just kind of does.
We could theorize later, I guess, but that's a good point.
Jack Frost, who we all know is basically like a winter spirit, he is not one of the guardians, but for some reason he was also chosen. Apparently the Man in the Moon first makes these people into these magical entities, and then later decides which of these magical entities will become Guardians. Because they also reference, like, the Leprechaun and the Groundhog from Groundhog Day.
The Groundhog, yeah.
It's like, the Man in the Moon is just making minor deities left and right, and then later being like, okay, now you have to protect children. Go for it.
What a weird and unknowable god this fucking celestial being of the Man on the Moon is.
It really is. So anyway, the big enemy of the Guardians is the Boogeyman, also called Pitch Black. Voiced by Jude Law, which I don't know if it's ever explained if the Boogeyman was a creation of the Man in the Moon, or if he's the devil to the moon or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, he has an underworld, so like there's the juxtaposition of the Man in the Moon up high and the Boogeyman below.
Yeah, he's basically
the quasi-god-devil dichotomy there.
Yeah, he's basically the embodiment of fear and nightmares. His whole thing is that whereas the other ones are protecting children and giving them hope and fun and their memories of childhood, the Boogeyman is trying to make things terrible for everyone. Apparently the Guardians killed him / imprisoned him back in the Dark Ages.
The Dark Ages.
Don't really explain what exactly they did to him, but they got rid of him for a while. But he comes back here, and his whole plan is to turn the Sandman's magical dreams, which is really cool. It's all like sand particles flying through the air, taking the forms of like unicorns and dolphins and dinosaurs, and just they like float over the city as children dream. But he's corrupting them into nightmares, which are literal horses, like evil demonic horses that he uses to basically spread terror throughout the entire world. And the Guardians have to stop him, and the Man in the Moon tells them, hey, Jack Frost is gonna be one of you guys now. But Jack Frost is like, I don't want to be one of you guys. You guys are stuffy old birds, and I don't give a shit about kids. I just like hanging out and having fun. And throughout the movie, he has to learn how to take responsibility for himself, but also keep on holding on to that spirit of fun in himself. So that's
and finding out who he is, and
yada,
yada, typical kind of arc for this kind.
Yeah, he doesn't remember his origins. All the rest of them do, which I don't know why the Man in the Moon stole his memories in that one.
Thank you for. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, did I miss something in this children's narrative where we know why he didn't have his memory, but apparently I didn't.
And
that's like a big question a lot of people have. Like, why the fuck did the Man in the Moon not just like give him his memories or tell him or something?
I guess maybe because he died, he lost his memories of his life. Maybe the others didn't die. Maybe they just like were elevated during their lives.
God, there's so much to unpack in this movie because like there's so many layers. Like this could all be broken down into like just like a commentary on like religion and the deification of things.
Absolutely.
And, like the cruel hand of a god that just moves people around like chess pieces. Like, there's nothing to justify Jack losing his memory for 300 years.
No,
because spoilers, he only knew himself as Jack Frost, like the entity, his whole life. Through the fucking teeth plot, he figures out that when he was a human, he was out skating on a frozen pond with his little sister, and the ice started to crack, and he saves her life, and he loses his in turn because he falls through the ice and either freezes to death or drowns or both. And that is when he becomes a guardian. So, like, why torture him for that long with him not knowing who he is?
Well, Tyler, the Man in the Moon works in mysterious ways.
God damn it. Fuck the Man on the Moon. Piece of shit.
You agree with Pitch Black? You're with Pitch Black?
Honestly, like, Erica and I both agree with Pitch Black. I mean, and not in like an edgy, like, oh, the villain has a point kind of way, but in like doesn't he kind of have a like really like a genuine point? Because don't children need fear? Aren't nightmares like natural? You know, because like all of these other guardians embody like these nebulous human concepts like hope and wonder and memory and all that. Shouldn't Pitch be a part of the team, or at least like some kind of, you know, somebody that they work with or can operate on his own without stepping out of line?
No, I think,
you know?
I think you're looking at this as like people have to deal with fear. And I think it's more like people have to deal with fear in this universe because Pitch Black exists. Pitch Black is basically the devil who embodies all that is fear. The only reason there is fear in the first place is because of Pitch Black. Whereas the rest of them are giving, like, they're ways of resisting fear. With Santa, it's like the wonder, seeing all the beauty and the lights and the joyfulness of, like, Christmas time. With the Easter Bunny, it's literally hope, like the hope of new beginnings, the hope of new starts. There's the memories of the Tooth Fairy, of, you know, having all of these memories of our good times that we had, the important emotional moments for us. Looking at it as, like, oh, kids need fear, is like, no, it's more like in this world he is the thing that the Guardians are against. He's the antithesis of what the Guardians are. The Guardians are there to help kids deal with fear.
Yeah, I guess you have a point there.
If you're wanting to get into a larger, like, philosophical debate of the utilization of fear and the need for it, I think that's like a bigger discussion maybe than this film is going for.
And the movie lampshades it because, of course, like Pitch, like, he doesn't just want to be like, oh, you know, like, a little fear does people good. Of course, he wants to, like, corrupt.
Oh, yeah.
Spread the fear and nothing more, and yada yada.
He wants the others dead.
Yeah. But still, at the same time, I'm like, but he serves a purpose. You know?
Like, there's an argument.
How do people grow and mature without fear and deal with it? I'm getting like, dude, film bro about it. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, we're getting into the nerd ethics early. Jumping right out of Halloween, I figured you'd have some hot takes on Pitch Black. I think this movie's a little, for as much lore and stuff that it throws in, I think it's a little more black and white than what you're pushing here. It's a little more
I think
good
that's
versus
my
evil.
problem, to be honest.
You want it to be more complex with there's a good in this fear, there's a good in the pain.
Yes, I do. Like, just because it's a family film doesn't mean it can't have nuanced, you know, themes.
I think it does. I just don't think
it does. It does at points. Yes.
It's just not endorsing fear in particular.
Yeah, it's not just like
scare your kids,
children,
frighten your children.
I'm just gonna bear the lead here. I don't know how much I like this movie, to be honest with you.
Really?
I find it fascinating, but I don't know if I like it.
I like
weird.
it, but I do think I like it more from, like, the intellectual side than the emotional side, because it's got so much to think about, and, like, all this lore and all the ways that, like, these characters represent different aspects of, like, the human condition. But I do agree also that, like, the story itself, it basically boils down to the generic, I'm an amnesiac, I don't really know my place in the world, but then along the way I found out that I really am a hero, even though I didn't think I was, so it's kind of a generic hero's journey there in that regard. But in terms of, like, all the stuff in the world building, it's fascinating.
The best thing I can say about it is that it really wanted me to dive into the actual origins of a lot of these figures, because on the face of it, it's like, okay, I understand why Santa Claus would be here. I understand why, you know, the Tooth Fairy and stuff, but I'm like, Easter Bunny. And then I realized, like, I never really knew what the fuck the deal of the Easter Bunny was. Like, how did that come about? What's cool about this movie is that it, not overtly, but it fully embraces the pagan origins of a lot of these figures.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas, you know, pagan origins. So does Easter. That's where the Easter Bunny comes from. He's not... He was appropriated by the commercialism and Christianity aspect.
Yeah, he's not Christian. He's Australian, obviously. Yes,
he's not Christian. He's Australian.
And Santa Claus, who's called Nicholas Saint North in this, they have different names.
North, yeah.
I'm actually looking at the cast list. Easter Bunny's full name is E. Astor Bunnymund. Like
Bunnymund.
Like, why?
And I looked up the Tooth Fairy, and apparently her design, I should have took, like, actual physical notes.
I forgot to take notes on this one too. It's a canary or something, though. I looked it up too.
Is Canary Japanese mythology?
Or it's like Buddhist, I think, or maybe it's like somewhere between Hindu and Buddhism, maybe a bit of both.
Okay. There's a little part where there's a mouse, and she's like, oh, that's from our European division. And like I looked it up, and in places like Spain and other European countries, the tooth fairy is embodied by a rodent. So there's a lot of like really, they did their homework.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Real lore wise.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked into Jack Frost as a mythological figure. He has roots in Norse mythology because Norse mythology is fucking metal.
Yeah.
His powers of frosting things over and stuff like that. He was known for frosting windows with like the intricate like leafy sort of patterns and stuff like that. And he does that in the movie.
Yeah,
and that's just like a visual thing, but that's like from the actual lore of the figure. So they really did their homework, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
It's everything around the movie that I like, and not the actual straightforward story. So
apparently
much.
the book series this is based on by Joyce goes into the origins of each of these figures and isn't based in like the real current time. Like this movie is basically a sequel to all of these characters' origin stories that play out in the book.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because he basically was like, I don't want to just recreate the book series and then have people say, oh, the books were better or whatever. I want to make like a new story here, but something that people can still jump in on.
That's cool.
Also pretty sad. It was dedicated to his daughter who he created the book series for, but she died, I think, before the film came out.
Oh, man, that's fucking bummer.
It is a bummer.
Jesus. To liven things up for this Christmas episode.
Merry Christmas!
I want to honor Erica, who is not on this episode. She was watching it with me. There is a running gag in this film that fucking slayed her. And I think it's the funniest gag in the movie, too. North, a.k.a. Santa, has Yetis.
Yes.
And elves.
Yes.
And there's this part where they're walking through his workshop, and there's Yetis... one Yeti painting something.
Yes.
Red.
Yes.
And he's like, oh no, that's too whatever, painted blue. And the Yeti's just like, yeah. And then, like, he looks at the pile of things and he's just angry.
Yeah. He's painted like dozens of them already.
And then later on, they're in the Easter world, and I guess it's the same Yeti, and he's painting things red. Okay, no, he was painting things blue first, and then he's painting things red in the Easter world. And the Easter Bunny walks by, and he's like, red, that's too Christmassy, paint him blue. And he's like,
it's like dozens of Easter eggs. Yeah. I also love that the Christmas elves are just there. Like, apparently the Yetis do all the work, but they keep the elves around just not to hurt their feelings.
Yeah. The elves are, I think, comic relief, diminutive characters done right.
Yeah.
They're not too distracting. I love their design, which character design is another contentious aspect I have with this movie. I like how they're just like little creatures just in a hat.
Yeah, yeah.
Their outfits are just the like the Santa Claus
tiny little hat goblins. Yeah,
yeah. They're just little Doritos walking around.
What character designs you got problems with?
I don't like most of the character designs.
Really?
Yes.
Which ones in particular?
I don't know if it's because, and I'm not saying it's a poorly animated film, not at all, but it's kind of on that cusp of CGI animation where like it's between like the older and the newer, and it's kind of getting into that uncanny look to it, which unfortunately is just how things age from that period with CGI animation. A lot of it's just me being petty. But I don't like the design of Jack Frost because he just looks like Joffrey from Game of Thrones, and I cannot take him. I just want to smack him in the fucking face the entire movie.
You don't like everybody's favorite Twinkie Ice Boy? Everyone's favorite ice twink?
Do not get me started on the internet thirst fest for Jack Frost in this movie, please. I don't want to go down.
God, Tyler, hot takes on this cold winter's night.
Me, I know, and I feel bad for saying that he reminds me of Joffrey, and then I want to punch him in the face because the poor actor. I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Chris Pine?
No, the actor who played Joffrey.
Oh, Chris Pine?
Yes, Chris Pine. Joffrey in the Game of Thrones.
He was getting real method in that one. It was embarrassing.
Poor guy did nothing wrong. People hate him, but Jack Frost in this movie reminds me of Joffrey, and I'm just like, I kind of want to smash your face in. I'm so and I don't like the Easter Bunny's design at all.
Really?
his proportions are weird.
You don't like Fur Daddy. You don't like Fur Daddy Easter Bunny.
You know what he looks like? He looks like the hunter, the cheetah named Hunter in the Spyro games.
Oh, he kind of does.
Pre-remaster. So I'm just like, I see he's got Bunny in this movie, and it's just Hunter, but with like gray fur and ears.
He's got like that
bunny ears.
Big barrel chest for a rabbit, which is weird.
Yeah, he's just like lanky but thick in odd ways, and I just
he's
don't like.
Jacked.
Like,
he's a big buff dude, but like
he's not pleasure. He's not aesthetically pleasing.
I think there's also honestly, a corner of the internet that would disagree with you there as well. I think most of
they can have whatever fucking jack off material they want. I don't need to have it. Honestly, I think he should have been his cute fuzzy version the entire movie.
Just with that same voice, though.
Santa, no problems with him.
I love Santa.
Anytime there's a badass burly Santa, I'm here for it.
He's got naughty and nice tattooed on his forearms. I love that.
Which shouldn't be funny because it's such an obvious joke, but it works.
He's Russian. He's got the deep Russian accent, and like he's wearing the black with the red instead of the white, which is really cool. It looks good.
I'm a sucker for alternative Santa characterizations, so he's easily my favorite part of the movie because like. He's cool because he's not like ultra serious and he's not like ultra jolly. He's just kind of like this. He's just kind of.
Well, I'd say he is jolly, but it's a very different kind of jolly. It's like a jolly warrior almost.
Yeah, he's like your cool uncle, like kind of jolly. he's like more modern comics Thor jolly.
He's a little bit of an asshole too, because he's like constantly picking jobs at the Easter Bunny, being like, Easter's not Christmas, my friend. And like they have like a big competition at one point to like gather up as many teeth as possible because the Tooth Fairy's helpers get kidnapped, and he makes a big competition deal out of it. He's like, look at this, I win. he's a little bit of a jerk, and it works because it's like charming to see him just be like over the top, like boisterous about everything. I really like Santa in this.
Yeah, it's a very good Santa rendition. I will give the movie that. I don't have a problem at all with Tooth Fairy's design. I think she looks nice. Pitch is fine. Sandman, and this might be a hang-up of mine, but something about his character design, for one, he looks like a cookie. You know those cookies that come in those tin cans that have like the kind of designs kind of carved into them, like the waves and
yes, I know what you're talking about.
He looks like that cookie.
I like it. He's like he's made of sand. He looks like he's like a bunch of sand particles like stitched together.
He kind of he looks like a villain to me.
Really?
Yes, like. Maybe it's because like villains in animated films like this are often like coded as like small, a little bit rotund. Maybe that's a hang up of mine.
I think it is. I think you're revealing maybe a little bit about yourself. I think he's cute, but he's also like the most badass member of the team.
He's cool. I love that he's a nonverbal character, and I love that he communicates through his own language with his sand, with like symbols and stuff. That's awesome. I love that.
And he whips ass. Like he has these big sand whips that he uses to fight with, and he creates all these different creatures and stuff out of sand that he can like ride around on. He's badass. I love the Sandman.
Are there any other character design aspects that
Pitch is probably the one that I would say I have the biggest problem with, just because
you say Pitch?
Yeah, because all the others, I think, even if they're a little off, they're at least like unique and different. Like making you didn't like the Easter Bunny, but like I kind of like the fact that they turned him into a huge, almost kangaroo-like man who uses a boomerang for some reason. Why is he Australian?
Why is he? Because they cast Hugh Jackman.
I know, but like it's just kind of fun and funny and different. But like Pitch is just this sort of generic dark figure with just like a sharp face. There's not really much to him. Yeah. He's almost under-designed compared to everybody else, which I guess is maybe the point. He's supposed to be sort of their antithesis, and maybe there's like some message about fear being a void or an absence rather than something so detailed. But like, I don't know.
It's called visual storytelling, Isaac.
Yeah. But he's just like, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't work. There it is. Good Lord. How many more of those you got in you?
Oh, well, I'm going to get up and get my second beer soon. So probably a couple. I am drinking Virginia beer, Evil Santa milk stout, which it's okay. It's got a bit too much of a bitter aftertaste for me, but it's a drinkable milk stout for any beer enthusiasts who might be in the audience.
Well, there you go.
Back to the film.
Back to the film. What else besides character design do we want to talk about? Or unless there was others?
This is more of like a conversation about like CGI animation in general than the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a pro and a con. The film is very energetic visually. The action scenes are fantastically composed.
Yes. Very easy to follow while also being very fast-paced. I agree.
Anytime Jack Frost is just flitting around doing his thing, like visually dynamic, great, love it. But like I miss animation, and this is probably more of a Western animation problem than animation in general. But I kind of miss when animation could just like be quiet and, you know, be a little still and take its time. This is one of those movies where it's like, it has quiet moments, to be fair. It has smaller moments, to be fair. But this is one of those animated movies that's like, just quick. Things are always happening. The camera's always moving. Yeah. And it's just kind of like,
I can see that, you know, as a general sort of critique of animated films, but I don't think it's fair to maybe attribute it to this film, because that's not what this film is. This film is an action-adventure film.
Yeah.
That's specifically, like, it's supposed to be high energy throughout most of it. Like, anytime it slows down is to focus on, you know, character development moments. So, I think...
Yeah, that's why I qualified it as, like, this is more of, like, a problem I have with, you know, newer Western animation in general than this movie in particular, but... I think I was in like a bit of a pissy mood when I watched this, to be honest. So I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of nitpicking.
Tyler, do you know how hard I have to pull the sleigh through the snow every year to drag your ass into Christmas cheer? I have to drag you through the snow. I've got the sleigh bells ringing around my neck, and you're just lying there digging your fists into the snow as I try to pull you into the Christmas spirit.
It's not gonna happen. I'm gonna be the happiest.
God damn it.
This season, when we talk about, I don't care about spoiling future episodes, when we talk about the anti-Christmas movie that you're gifting me this tongue-in-cheer with Batman Returns, I will be the happiest when we're discussing
purposely
that movie.
do that so that you have a nice build-up to that moment. So,
and just as you said in one of our past episodes, in I think it was our last episode of Dungeon Freak, where you're not all holly jolly. You do like darker elements. I myself am not all dour, grim, gross. I also like feeling good. I like happy things. I mean, I like Arthur Christmas. That's going to be one of our episodes.
That is.
And that also has the same snippy, snappy kind of animation style. I think it does it better than this movie does, but
I think that's
we'll
fair.
get to that when we watch Arthur Christmas.
Yeah.
Anyway,
back to this
do you want
film.
to talk about the teeth?
I've got a feeling you do, so sure. Let's get into the teeth.
I don't want to make it like a thing, and like, but so much of the plot is about teeth.
You know, I didn't even notice until you brought it up, but yeah, there is a startling amount of tooth talk in this film. Like, the whole middle section is teeth.
And like, one of the main protagonists is the Tooth Fairy, so yeah. But like, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, it took me by surprise just how much tooth talk and how much of the story revolves around teeth.
We might have said
I dead ass, like, I could not. I just could not when she said that children's memories are stored in the teeth. That's why we collect them. I'm like, what the fuck, movie? What?
They needed a reason to have the Tooth Fairy, I guess.
I'm just like, what? Like, and I get what they're going for, because putting your tooth under the pillow and stuff like that, like, that's such like a childhood thing that pretty much any kid can have, like, a nostalgic connection. I get it. And I think it's kind of cute in its own way, but like, she keeps children's teeth in like these ornate obelisk cylinders, and there's just millions and millions of them.
To be fair,
she's like
To be fair, there are some families who actually do keep people's baby teeth. Like they don't.
I know there are.
It's like an actual thing of like, oh, remember when you were this small? So I think that's kind of what they're going to.
One of those people, yes, I know.
But like, it is odd that there's such a fixation on the teeth for like the middle section. It's like the second act is the Tooth Fairy, who has like a legion of baby Tooth Fairies that work for her. All of her little baby Tooth Fairies get kidnapped by Pitch, and she has to send out the rest of the Guardians to go get the teeth. And during that, we find out that, memories are stored in the teeth. Jack, you can get your tooth back and get the memories from it.
Just as piss is stored in the balls, and memory is stored in the teeth. Who would have thought?
It's one of those. It's just one of those things where you've got to say, okay, yeah, magic, childhood, wonder. We're gonna let this one slide.
I did. And the whole fucking time, there's this like, and she's kind of manic. So like throughout the entire movie, she's always like in the background, just like muttering to herself really fast about like different kinds of teeth and where they come from and
It makes a good point that like she's the busiest of them because unlike the others, she doesn't work like one day a year.
Yeah, kids are always losing teeth all year,
all over, everywhere they're losing teeth.
And she shows that little girl who's the Boo stand-in, like, look at these teeth, they got blood and gum on them. The little girl's like, wee.
She's like fascinated with teeth. I think it's cute and funny. As weird as it is, I think the Tooth Fairy is cute and funny with her fascination with teeth.
She's probably my second favorite character after Santa. So, just because she's a fucking weirdo.
She is. She's so enthusiastic about it, too. She's like, oh, just look at this incisor. It's so cute.
And I don't know what it is about whatever realm she resides in, but not only does she show some thirst for Jack Frost, but all the little baby teeth fairies show thirst for Jack Frost.
It's because of his pure white teeth, his white as snow teeth. They're all just into it. Literally, when they first meet, I think she actually grabs his mouth and opens it a second and looks in there and it's like, are they really as white as snow? Like, there's a little bit of...
Oh God, what the fuck is this movie?
It's great is what it is. Let's dig into a bit of the idea of Guardians as representations of a specific idea. I want to start with Santa because I really love what this movie does. Usually with other depictions of Santa, they focus on generosity as like his core trait, like the idea of giving, the spirit of giving. And that's good. That's great. It's a great thing to have, and it's a good message. But having Santa Claus embody wonder, I think, does something that sort of brings a little bit of... It kind of counteracts the sort of cynicism towards Christmas that I think there is, in that a lot of what we see today in Christmas is this consumerism, this buy. Oh, look at all the fancy stuff. Look at all this and that. You got to have a fancy tree. And with Santa, it's not, oh, you've got to have the most expensive toy, or, oh, you've got to have the most lit up lights in this neighborhood. It's more like the wonder of seeing the lights, the wonder of finding a gift under the tree wrapped with a bow. It turns this idea of it's all just flash and no substance into the flash has substance. The spectacle is the point, and it's not something that we should just condemn because it is spectacle. Like the spectacle of Christmas, it has its own value.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I didn't think about it too deeply when I watched it, but yeah, that is a good way to tackle sort of what Santa represents, because in a lot of other movies, Santa's just kind of the stand-in for, like generosity or selflessness or something like that. But if you want to make him like a character with his own outlook and his own agency and stuff like that, what is Christmas to kids? Like it's this wide-eyed wonder, at the world of snow and sledding, sitting by the fireplace, all that like iconic stuff, that everybody associates with Christmas. Bright flashing lights and all the colors. And it's not the presents. It's a community coming together to celebrate something. The visual representation of that.
It's creating this sense of like joy in a moment, especially in like the darkest time of the year, taking the time to make things festive and bright and joyful. that this movie like sort of hones in on. And it doesn't do it for long, but I think it's a really cool idea that they present.
It is, yeah. I have to agree. And with that, I have to put the kibosh on this good flow and go grab another beer real quick. I will be right back.
Okay, Tyler's getting a beer because he can't handle this one sober.
I lied. I mean, I didn't lie. I went to go get another beer, but I had to grab myself a Coke because I started feeling some Christmas spirit with our conversation just now, and I couldn't allow that to happen.
You bitch. Let it flow, you bastard. I worked so hard to get any inkling of joy out of you. It's like wringing out a dry rag. I'm just trying to get any moisture out. Merry Christmas, asshole.
And a Happy New Year.
Okay. So Santa, really like him. What about the others and what they embody? I think I like... Conceptually, I like the idea of the Easter Bunny representing hope, but I don't feel like he does that in this film. Like he's kind of a jerk, especially towards Jack, and like he definitely doesn't have any hope or faith in Jack. He's kind of like the most resistant to Jack joining the crew until we get the moment where he explicitly says Easter's about hope. I don't feel that off of him.
Yeah, it's kind of just like, well, we need him to kind of represent something here, so he'll be that. And I guess you can make it connect in that it's about spring, it's about renewal, it's about rebirth, it's about new starts, so, hope,
right,
for new beginnings and whatnot. But,
and I'm behind that, but I don't think the character works with it.
Yeah, the character himself doesn't really embody any of that. Well, maybe. You could kind of twist it in that his slow embrace of Jack is kind of the hope. In this kind of group dynamic in the narrative, you have to have the person who's opposed to the outsider.
Yeah.
Or whatever, and then they have to embrace the outsider. So, I guess maybe you can say that him embracing Jack is him finding the hope in this new person who's joining the Guardians.
Hope by the end. Sort of an ironic sort of the one who's supposed to be hope becomes hope throughout the movie.
Yeah, he's kind of, even though he represents hope, he's kind of the most like, shit's bad, I don't know if we can do this character. So I guess maybe he's supposed to embody hope because he doesn't have as much as everybody else.
It's weird.
Yeah.
With Santa, you can see the wonder. Like, you see the way that he acts is filled with wonder, this sort of like joyfulness, even in like combat and whatnot. He's got two big scimitars he's swinging around. Yeah. He's riding around on the sleigh in midair, just slicing up these nightmares. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, they kind of sort of half-ass, because it's only a 95-minute movie or whatever, and there's like half a dozen central characters, so it's kind of hard to give everybody a clear sort of defined purpose or arc. But
Jack and Santa work the best, because Jack is, by the end of the movie, it's revealed that he embodies fun, and of course he does. He was like a snow day, like in the very beginning of the movie, we see him having a bunch of kids start up a snow day with a snowball fight, and he ends up like taking one through the city on a sled, basically creating an ice path for him as he goes, nearly kills the kid. His works and Santa's works, but the others, I don't know. Sandman literally represents dreams, so it's like, yeah, of course he does. That's what his powers are, so of course. And we never get a dialogue from him, so we can't really get too much of his inner thoughts on what dreams are supposed to do for kids. We just kind of see that. And of course, memories are stored in the teeth, so...
God damn it. That's never not gonna be like, why was this such a big part of what was I going to say about? I was going to say something about Jack. I do like the fact that the Guardians are, they take pride in the fact that they're Guardians and that they protect children. It's all about the children.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they don't know dick about kids.
They're detached. They're too into their duty that they've forgotten what it actually means to connect to kids. And they literally say that at one point. Santa's like,
yeah, we don't have time.
We're too busy protecting the children. We don't have time for children.
And Jack, who's been this loner this whole time, even though nobody can see him, he's the only one that understands kids because, he's the prankster, he's the fooler, He's the jester, so he understands kids innately. I think that was a fun dynamic that the movie had as well.
Let's talk about that one bit. You just mentioned how the kids can't see Jack. Apparently, there's various different mythical figures out there, like Jack and the Leprechaun and whatnot, that the Man in the Moon just makes willy-nilly. But the only ones the kids can actually see are the Guardians themselves, which I think is this very weird and complex take on faith and the idea of belief in something, like belief manifesting. I'm not entirely sure what the movie's trying to get across with it.
Yeah, now that you mentioned it, it's kind of weird because so much of Jack's character arc is based around the fact that kids can't see him, nobody can see him, and they don't, quote, believe in him. But, like, he's still, like, known, like, as this idea.
Yeah.
So, there's number 2.
Okay. You get one more.
I mean, the movie does establish that he's known as, like, an idea. So why wouldn't people and children believe in him?
Right.
Because, Jack Frost, there he is nipping at your nose, there he is frosting your windows, there he is blowing the snow in, freezing the pipes, like, it's the whole, like, nobody sees me thing just kind of felt like an added layer to his arc that didn't need to be.
I don't know. I think it's saying something. I don't know if I'm just not getting it or if the film doesn't quite flesh it out enough.
Is it the nature of, like, Jack Frost being sort of a negative, thing within, like, people's belief system? Like, because they associate coldness with, Pitch says it, what goes better together than cold and dark, Which is also a great point. If Jack Frost is the embodiment of all winter weather, he has killed so many people. Like, God damn it.
Like, I'm assuming he's only
Jack, you murderous bastard.
I'm assuming he's only the fun elements of winter, but if he is all of winter, he is like a murderous monster. Like, probably way more than Pitch has.
Oh, God damn it. Oh, the movie just completely fell apart.
Like I said, there's so much lore that, like, we need so many more details on to make this work. It's confusing.
If any goddamn kids movie of the 2000s needed to be a franchise, it's this one.
It really needed like 7 more films so I could understand what the hell's going on. What is the Man in the Moon?
I do like that we never see an actual physical form of the Man in the Moon. It's just the moon.
Yeah.
I do like that.
They could apparently hear him. The movie ends with a stupid line from Jack about, like, so the next time that the Man in the Moon says something, listen. And it's like,
listen.
It's like,
it's like, so you're advocating for people to indulge in their...
The fuck does that mean,
in their
Jack?
Possible mental health issues.
Listen to the moon. Listen. The moon's speaking to you.
Listen to the entity that made me a quasi-god and didn't tell me that I had a family before I died.
Oh, God.
Oh, God, this whole movie's about just, like, the dangerous path that people go down when they have just, like, unerring faith in a higher being. Fucking man, this movie.
It's a weird one. It's a weird one. It's a weird one for just in general, but also a weird one to start out our Christmas list with.
Yeah. And I totally see why it has a huge internet fan base of millennials and Gen Zers.
Because they're all hot. They're all so hot.
Quote unquote hot. And there is a lot of, like, weird character shit that you can dig up in the movie. To make, anybody just, like, online just swoon.
There's a lot of fic potential in this, like.
Oh, and the internet took advantage of it because I don't know if you remember the 2013, 2014 era of the internet where is pretty much just people shipping Elsa and Jack Frost
because they're both pretty ass-powered people. So okay.
And they're both, ostracized. They both feel invisible. Blah, 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 blah.
Who would win in a fight,
put the two really hot, pale ice people together.
Who do you think would win in a fight?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, I haven't seen Frozen 2, So I don't know like the breadth of Elsa's powers as they're probably explored in that one. But just because I prefer Frozen, I'm gonna say Elsa would kick his ass.
I think Elsa's got a higher output. She freezes like the whole town and the mountainside and everything in like one go. I don't think we ever see Jack do anything of that level. Also, she creates sentient life with snow.
Yes.
Although Jack can fly.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of this is my bias, because if we're playing Smash or Pass, I would smash Elsa. I would not smash Jack Frost, so she wins by default.
Your loss. Smash or Pass is Smash or Pass is usually just smash or smash for me in general.
I know, you are the most easily swayed person when it comes to Smash or Pass.
Matter of fact, let's just go down the list. Jack Frost, smash. Okay. Pitch Black, I can fix him, smash. Saint North, oh daddy, smash. Easter Bunny, I can do it, smash. Tooth Fairy, smash. Sandy, smash. The rest of the characters are children, so probably not. You know what? I'll pass on the kids.
Jack Frost, pass. Easter Bunny, pass. Santa, smash.
Yes.
Tooth Fairy, smash. God damn it.
Yeah. Get that
saying that
cloaca.
Yes,
get that cloaca. Bird pussy.
Pitch. If Pitch didn't have... If he didn't have such a wide Cro-Magnon brow...
He really does have a hefty brow. Oh, boy.
So I'm a bit more selective with this roster of people than you are, but there's some crossover Smash for both of us. So that's good, I guess. Oh, I wanted to ask you, have you played Sonic Frontiers yet?
I have not. I'm probably waiting until Christmas for that one to come in.
Wow, I'm surprised you've restrained yourself.
I know. It's Christmas time, baby. I hold back as much as I can. I'm replaying God of War
You're
right
edging.
now. I really am. I've spoiled so much for myself about the game, and it's getting like middling reviews, which for a Sonic game is phenomenal. So it's really hard for me to hold back.
Oh my god, it's probably amazing.
Yeah, it's getting like 7s, Tyler. It's getting 7s, which is like in like most video games is actually like a 5 or a 4, which for a Sonic game is like an 11.5. So like.
You know, let's just talk about Sonic for a bit. You know what's throwing me off?
What?
About a lot of like Sonic games?
What?
That I just realized while watching, trailers and gameplay footage of Frontiers.
Yeah.
Sonic is such an overly stylized character. I can't buy him in any environment that's even remotely grounded in reality.
Yeah, the new game, it is weird. It's got this Shadow of the Colossus mixed with like future sci-fi.
Like
they got like this future sci-fi Shadow of the Colossus, and then there's Sonic the Hedgehog running around in it, and it's phenomenal.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, it just looks like they put Sonic in Shadow of the Colossus, and it looks fucking weird.
I love it, Tyler. I love it. That's the best. When Sonic transitioned into 3D, they're like, fuck it, he's in the human world, and everybody's like, whoa, wait, what? They just went weirder and weirder with it, and I've loved that this is where we've ended up. Sonic the Hedgehog, Shadow of the Colossus. Love the concept. Can't wait to actually play the game come Christmas time.
Oh, can't wait to hear your words.
Oh, I'm sure I will have like a little pocket in one of our pods over it. Probably during our beginning of the year episode, I will talk a little bit about that. Right now, I'm replaying the original God of War for the new one that came out, Ragnarok, because I'm also hoping for that one for Christmas too. If not, I'm getting it with my own Christmas money.
I love the fact that you're a man in your mid-20s saying, like, I hope I get this for Christmas.
Well,
if not, I got my own Christmas money.
Hell yeah. I'm not going to ruin Christmas.
Never change.
There are people who love me, who know the things that I want. It's close to the holiday where people get each other gifts. I purposefully avoid buying things this time of year because I know that people are probably going to get me some of the things I want. And if they don't, then I'll take some of the money that somebody will give me for Christmas and then I'll use it towards that. Or if I don't get any money for Christmas, I'll just buy it with my own damn money because I'm a grown-ass man and I can do that if I want.
Oh, never change. Is there have anything else? The Guardians? God, it's
so weird.
Kind of stuck now, to be honest.
I don't know, man. I picked this one because it was a weird, different sort of pseudo-holiday one, like we did with The Nightmare Before Christmas. The Nightmare Before Christmas was definitely more tied into Christmas than this one is.
Oh, easily.
But, like, yeah, it's an odd film. I enjoy it. I like a lot of the concepts that this movie throws. If not in the quality of its execution, then at least in the ambition of its ideas. I think it was a very ambitious film. I think it does a lot of things well. I think it could have done a lot more, especially if it had been, successful enough to spin off into other sequels and stuff. But as it is, I enjoy it. I think it's fun. It's not the best film with, like, these holiday characters in it, but it's pretty fun. It's got some cool ideas in it. Yeah, I think that's my general takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close to mine.
Not great, but good enough.
Yeah, I really like how ambitious it is. I like that it's successful enough to make me ask all of these questions. I want to do my own research into real-world lore and mythology and all that kind of stuff. So it gets points for that. But as a singular experience on its own, I'm just left kind of befuddled by it, to be honest.
There's a sort of, like, childish Avengers element to it, in, like, we have all these different recognizable...
You can call it a superhero movie.
Yeah, it's a team-up superhero film with these recognizable figures that are all thrown together on a team who have to work together.
Yes, I mean, I wouldn't scoff at anybody labeling it a superhero movie, It's because it functions as one pretty much completely, to be honest. It's a weird relic of the tweens, of the 20 tweens. It's got a huge following online, which I find fascinating, because anything that finds like a niche audience online, I'm just like, why? And then I look into it, and the answer is never as deep as I expect it to be, because it's always the same answer, which is people are horny for it.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. It also suffers from the most generic naming conventions in film. Rise of the Guardians.
Guardian. Yeah. It could be anything.
It could be, you could literally throw that title on any film. It's like, okay.
I think the book series, did we mention that it's called Guardians of Childhood?
Yes, that's the name of the book series.
Yes. I honestly think they should have called it that.
Yeah. I agree. It would have been easier to get the connection. And I think when people hear Guardians of Childhood, that's a little more of like ooh, I want to see what that's about than Rise of the Guardians. Rise of the Guardians is like, oh man, remember that movie Epic? No?
Oh my god, Epic.
Do you remember Epic?
Completely forgot about Epic.
Exactly. It's like every other movie, you just throw some random bullshit words in there and it's like, nobody wants to see this because it's the most generic crap ever.
God, there's a whole fucking pod series we can do on like C tier 20 tweens, 2010s.
I don't remember
animated films like Battle for Terra and The Ant Bully and Mars Needs Mom.
I've heard I watched The Ant Bully once, and I've heard people talk about The Ant Bully as like this big allegory for faith in God, and I'm like, did I see the same movie, or was I just too stupid as a little kid to get it? Like, there's weird followings around B and C tier animated films, and I kind of love that there are some people who are just
noticed
deep in there. Yeah.
I remember thinking The Ant Bully was okay.
Yeah.
I saw it. Thinking it was better than it seemed it would be.
Mm-hmm.
God, what else? There's Over the Edge.
It's always like big name actors in these films too. This is like an all-star cast, and it's just like it just was middling when it came out. It actually lost money because they spent so much on marketing.
Huh. I looked up the box office and it seemed like it made a decent amount of money.
It did. On its budget,
that's why it never got a sequel.
On its budget of $145 million, it made $306. But there was like some weird.
Oh, and then it just about broke even then, so it really wasn't that profitable.
Yeah, but it lost an estimated $87 million because of marketing and distribution costs.
Yeah.
So
okay. Well,
I think that's it for this one.
Poor Rise of the Guardians didn't get the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, didn't get the Kung Fu Panda franchise.
But those films deserved it.
Even though like I'm half and half on this movie, I think this movie did deserve a sequel or two, just because of how fucking dense everything in it is.
I would have liked to seen this as a TV series. I think with like more time spaced out.
I hate everything being a TV series.
Well, that's now though. I think back then when this came out, with all the freaking lore in it, I think spreading it out a bit would have given some more time to actually explore this world building they're setting up.
Yeah, I guess. Just in a world where Ice Age had like 5 theatrical
In a world where Ice Age got 5 films, how? The first one's okay.
In a world where it seems, this isn't the reality, but in a world where it seems like there's a new Minions movie every 6 fucking months. And I know cracking on Minions is so old hat, like, and honestly, like, I don't care that kids love Minions. I don't care that kids' parents love Minions.
Yeah.
But like, it's Minions though.
It really is sad that something like Rise of the Guardians, where despite its flaws, there's a lot of creativity and work and research that went into it. It just doesn't stand a chance against a yellow little blob that goes banana for 60 minutes.
Just a sentient yellow Tic Tac.
Yeah.
Just like with like. And I love button fart jokes, but there's got to be a limit.
There's got to be. You got to put some depth in there, man. Put some depth to that fart joke. There it is, and on that one, we're done, I think. Oh, any final things to say about Rise of the Guardians?
We've talked about it, but I didn't ask you outright. Is it horny?
Is it... Okay, we've had this discussion before. Is it horny, or are people horny for it?
Yeah, but at what point does that distinction not matter?
I think there is a distinction. I think
there is, but at what point does it not matter? Because if a fan base of something is so codified,
Tyler,
in its horniness,
the human race can sexualize anything. I could post a picture of a rock on my Instagram tomorrow, and there would be pictures of it with tits and ass.
Like, you're right, but there's something like. There's definitely Rule 34 for, say, Toy Story, but there's not nearly as much Rule 34 for Toy Story which is a movie that has which is a franchise that has 4 movies and a bunch of shorts and all that, as one movie, which is this one, where it made the entire fucking internet horny. So that's why I say there's really no distinction.
Focusing explicitly on character design. We got Jack Frost. People talk about how he's a twink. He's just like a guy. Nothing in his outfit is very sexual. He wears a fucking hoodie and pants. The pants are kind of tight.
Skinny. They're basically skinny jeans.
Okay, but like that's
he's like the personification of like 2000s kind of hot boy look. You know, he's got like the kind of effeminate facial features. He's got the skinny jeans. He's got the hoodie. He's got the kind of like I'm a cool guy attitude. That I understand. And then you have the whole daddy aspect of Santa.
Okay, Santa is a daddy. Fair point. Easter Bunny is a weird fur daddy.
He's also kind of a fur daddy. And then you have the Tooth Fairy, who's like.
She kind of cinches. I will say the way she moves more than her actual design, because she kind of like cinches her knees together a bunch of times, and I don't know if that's weird or supposed to like show her flat or something, but there's something odd about it. Like that's definitely like her movements. She's
kind of got the Pixar mom figure.
She kind of does have a bit of a booty back there.
She's got the thick thighs, even though she's a fucking bird.
The Sandman, Sandy, he's a short king. Fine, it's horny. Well, I'll give it the horny stamp of approval. It gets tongue-in-cheek stamp of horny. Barely. I think really this was one where the internet, for some reason, latched onto it harder than the film itself was trying to project. Like, there are definitely projects where you see that in it, but in this one, I think it's really more like something in the character design just got people.
Like fucking, oh god, like that fucking Scooby Doo movie.
Oh my god. I guess follow up to Tongue and Freak real quick. The new Scooby Doo Trick or Treat movie is wild for a lot of reasons, but one of them being that the villain / addition to the main cast, what was her name? Something Diablo. Coco Diablo or something.
Coco Diablo.
Yeah. She takes the whole animation budget.
It's nuts. It's wild.
Like, all the other characters are animated how you'd expect for an average Scooby-Doo film. Like, not great, not terrible. They just kind of move around normal. She's got these swaying ass hips and, like, her hair's flowing around. They put so much work into animating this woman as sexualized as possible. It's fucking nuts.
She's so fluid and she just flounces around. There's literally movie, and it's like
there's literally a scene where she walks in, sashays one hip, then sashays the other way, and sticks her hand basically right over her ass, and it's like the most fluid animation I've seen in years. And I'm like, what the fuck were they doing in this Scooby-Doo film?
We all collectively had this like, what the, like, why is she so well animated? She's so well animated, it takes you out of the movie.
Compared to everything else, yes! If the whole movie was done that well, it'd be one thing, but it's just her!
You're stuck between this weird limbo of, like, oohing and awing over how well done her animation is, but she's stuck in this middling direct-to-streaming / video Scooby-Doo movie where everything is far stiffer and traditionally animated. It's such a weird...
The fact that it's done specifically for sex appeal is just wild.
It really is.
In a Scooby-Doo film.
Like, it really is. She is explicitly meant to confuse burgeoning sexualities.
There is a lot in that movie to talk about. You want to make this a little tongue-and-freak crossover and just talk about the
Sure. It's a perfect transition because this isn't technically a Christmas movie.
Let's do it.
Hold that thought. I really got to take a piss.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
This is just going to be a weird transition into tongue-and-cheer because I've got to talk about this Scooby film.
Okay. I think it's safe to say that when I clicked on Trick or Treat Scooby Doo for us to watch when you were hanging out with us the other weekend, that, you know, hey, it's kind of, I guess you could say, trend-setting for the franchise because it explicitly depicts Velma as a gay woman, or at the very least a bisexual woman, because she is thirsty as ever-loving fuck for Coco Diablo. So this is the Scooby-Doo franchise embracing LGBTQ+.
Which is cool.
Which is cool. And that's why I'm like, hey, this is the one where Velma's crushing on this character. Let's watch it. None of us were prepared.
No.
For the fucking fever dream that this movie was. Okay. It is so weird.
General premise of this film. All of the Scooby-Doo villains that have ever existed before, and this movie knows its Scooby-Doo lore. They know, these people who made this know Scooby-Doo, because they reference all kinds of old villains from the old, like, shows and everything. Apparently, they all got their costumes from the same person called Coco Diablo, who is the most hypersexualized Scooby-Doo character in existence. And
she's hot, though.
She is hot, though. Coco gets arrested because the Scooby gang find her out, and afterwards, they have no mysteries to solve, and they all just get depressed, especially Fred, because this is his whole thing. They're like, we have to have a new mystery. I'm gonna go nuts if we don't have a new mystery. And suddenly, of course, new mystery starts up. Everybody starts freaking out, trying to figure out what's going on. They decide to break Coco out of jail so that she can help with the mystery. And it just gets weirder and weirder as it goes on.
Like, we said that this movie, Rise of the Guardians, is weird. And it is. But this movie is weird. And Scooby-Doo has gotten weird before plenty of times.
Yeah.
But there's something about this one that's just, it's less than 90 minutes. It's like an hour and 15 minutes. And it just like, it has a story, but not really. And like, there's no actual genuine threat. And it just has these weird kind of modern meta humor asides. And it's just kind of like lulls random, sometimes to the benefit, sometimes to the detriment of the movie.
And Fred's out of his mind!
Which has also been done before, but like not in this bizarre of a way.
Fred,
you know?
Fred goes nuts with depression over losing his mysteries to the point where he basically, at the end of the film, he's literally throwing money into a wishing well. Like,
he's making it rain.
And he's like, I hope we get mysteries for the rest of our lives. And he's laughing like a lunatic. Oh my gosh.
And like, they redo the whole, like, what's Daphne's point for being on the team trope again.
Yeah.
Which seemed really lazy, and you hated the kind of, like, denouement of that arc, but I actually kind of liked it. Where, like, Fred's like, you've always been the leader. And I'm like, oh, I think that's cute. I think that's sweet. Because what he said about her isn't, you can observe that in other Scooby-Doo media, so I don't think it comes out of nowhere. I don't think it's a cheat. You seem to kind of think it was a cheat. You're like, what? Don't retcon this bullshit. That's not
like I'm fine with Daphne having a point in the team. I want her to be a developed character, but acting like she was always the leader just seems like a cop-out to me, because no, she fucking wasn't. Especially in the old ones. Yeah. She was just a lifeless doll that kind of followed around the other. Velma was the smart one. Velma had, like, she was the one figuring out all the details. Fred set the traps. Fred was the one who, like, told the gang when to split up. And he was the one who did the big reveal. Shaggy and Scooby, they were the silly ones who were scared of everything. Daphne was just kind of there.
Yeah, she was kind of proto-Thirst.
Yeah. She was like the 60s equivalent of Thirst. And I know she's developed more as the years have gone on, but like this sort of retconning of like, she's always been the leader. Like, no, if you want to make her the leader, then just acknowledge.
Make her the leader.
Yeah, just acknowledge that that transition is happening in this.
That's completely fair, and I can't really poke any holes in your perception of that. But I've seen enough more modern Scooby-Doo material where she is kind of the group mom, where she's the voice of reason. She's the one that kind of like calms everybody down, gives the rest of the gang perspective. So I've seen enough of that in past Scooby-Doo media to accept Fred's like, you've always been the leader speech. Yeah, it kind of feels like a cop-out, kinda. I can see how you could see that, but it worked for me personally.
That's my least thing of concern in this film about the movie, because it's so fucking weird. So weird. There's a character who's like, he's like Coco's assistant named Esteban. I was just gonna
bring him up, like everything of.
He's just like this weird goth guy, and the movie goes so far out of its way to shit on him and everything he does. He's just trying to like make his own versions of costumes, and Coco just shits on him, being like, "Oh, you have no originality. It's all just freaking Dracula." And
the movie constantly weaves in and out of this weird it can't pick a lane, which is like its biggest flaw, but also its biggest draw.
Yeah,
because
at times it feels like a generic Scooby-Doo adventure where they're trying to figure out the mystery, and then suddenly something weird happens,
and then it just has this like weird subversive humor. There's this shot of that weird goth guy that just holds forever. He's just in his store. It's just a wide shot of him in his store standing there still looking all sad and goth.
They're trying to prove that like he's the villain, and they go back to like his video and it just shows him alone in the store, nobody coming in, and they just keep going
and the shot when I mean the shot holds, like it's not like a 5-second shot. It's like a 30-second shot.
Yeah, they just keep going, showing how pitiful this dude is, and it's like, can we just lay off this weird goth dude? Like, why?
Like it's this fluid, just in and out of like kind of traditional Scooby-Doo story, kind of subversive, weird edgy humor Scooby-Doo movie, and it's sneaking between that.
Tyler, his ending. I just remembered how his ending went.
Oh God! Zipper.
At the end, Scooby and Shaggy get this great big mound of candy from him because he's like, I can't really eat candy. I don't remember what he says. Maybe he's a diabetic or something. He's like, I can't really eat candy, so you guys can have it. And Scooby and Shaggy are just like, oh, you're just a great big ray of sunshine under all that gloom and doom, aren't you, pal? And he just unzips his face and reveals like this golden-haired surfer dude. And he's like, you're right, I am a ray of sunshine, goodbye. And he just wanders off screen, and that's the last we see of him. No explanation as to how or why.
The whole movie is this weird disconnect. It's so odd.
Just reality breaks so many times, and you're wondering if, like, did I fucking take acid a second ago and it just kicked in? Like, what happened?
I don't feel we're being hyperbolic because this movie really is just out there. And like,
I love that they blew up.
It's safe for kids. Your kids can watch it, but there's just this underlying tone to the whole thing that's just like, what the fuck is this?
It's nothing dirty or weird except maybe for Coco being the most sexualized thing I've seen in a hot minute.
That she threw me off every time she was on screen because
the animation budget went
like,
to her.
God damn, Coco Diablo, god damn.
She got the whole animation budget and they use it for thirst. Like every movement she does, she swivels her head. She like twists her wrists. She sachets her hips. It's all so much and it's all so fluid.
I would have loved to have seen this on the big screen. Like there are so many Scooby-Doo movies.
Mm-hmm.
They're like 30 plus.
This is the
even 50 plus.
This is the 37th direct-to-video Scooby-Doo film.
So that says that yes, these movies are financially, successful enough that Warner Brothers keeps producing them.
It's a massive franchise.
So, like, why couldn't we have gotten like a special theatrical like engagement for Trick or Treat Scooby Doo? Because this deserves to be seen on the big screen.
I wanted to hear some like 40-year-old mom being like, "What the fuck?" Like sitting next to her kids in the theater.
I know, and like the whole time I was waiting for the movie to actually get to like a tangible threat or a tangible conflict, and it doesn't really get there, and like that's kind of the whole point of a Scooby-Doo story, But like when you about halfway through, you kind of realize like there really isn't anything in real peril here. It's just kind of the gang figuring out their own shit and trying to like.
Scooby and Shaggy are also just living their best lives without any mysteries, and then this mystery pops up, and they're just like, "Can we please just go trick or treating?" And Fred's like, "No."
Just wanting to trick or treat. Their whole thing is just wanting to trick or treat. That's why it's called Trick or Treat Scooby Doo, because it takes place on Halloween, and Scooby and Shaggy just want to trick or treat. That's it.
And the rest of the gang is just like, "No, we have to solve this mystery."
I need to own this movie on Blu-ray. It is fascinating. I need to get the Blu-ray for Trick or Treat Scooby Doo and watch it endlessly to like craft my like brilliant analytical thesis on what is going on. Because none of me, you, Erica, we did not expect
this hit us
what
like
this
a
movie threw
freight
us.
train. I like that
I just like sat there dumbfounded.
We really did. I like that they freaking blew up the mystery machine and then drove it around all destroyed.
Starship Enterprise, like, dude, I unironically got fucking hyped when they like revamped the mystery machine. I was like, "Fuck yeah, this is badass."
Yeah. And everybody kept shitting on that guy for no reason. What was his name? Trevor? They're like, "Your designs suck. So. We hate you, Trevor. Your designs suck." And like, he was just a dude.
No, it's like this awesome badass like Gothmobile. He makes it.
It's like the Monster Mobile.
I kind of want this.
It's like, yeah.
I kind of want this to be the new mystery machine. Like, this is awesome.
It has like a candelabra on the front of it. It's purple and black.
Oh my god. one of the best films of the year. Treat Scooby Doo.
It's wild. It's just a wild.
I did not expect our Rise of the Guardians review to.
Last year we had to have a transition between Halloween and Christmas. This is our transition between Halloween and Christmas. Is our mashup, and the fact that like it ends with all of the old villains getting out, and then like the Scooby Gang puts on their costumes and basically has like a superhero ending where they're just like running around using superpowers to catch everybody. I like how all the villains too just immediately go to stealing candy from children. Like they're all that petty.
Oh God, the Scooby Doo franchise. I love Scooby. Like, I can't say I'm an expert.
No.
I haven't seen every Scooby Doo movie that's ever been made, but I've been a more than casual fan of Scooby Doo my entire life.
It's a staple of animation, and this movie, I
can't believe over 50 years of this franchise, and it still manages to surprise me.
To throw you off.
Yeah, to throw me off.
Well, Tyler, is it horny?
It's just Trick or Treat Scooby Doo. Oh, yeah, fuck yeah, it's horny. Because not only does Coco Diablo she's pretty much the sexiest animated character since I don't know when.
Probably since
Judy Hopps.
Probably since I was gonna say since Chell from The Road to El Dorado.
I know, but I wanted to get a fucking non-human character in there for the lulz. But Chell, she's very much Chell inspired.
She's very Chell inspired.
Yeah, what was that? Shit, I lost my train of thought. Oh, is it horny? Yes. Not only is Coco Diablo like insanely sexually coded, so is Daphne. Like, Daphne is like this crazy hourglass figure, like even more than usual.
Mm-hmm.
Where regular, pretty redhead face, and then she's got the popping titties, and then like the cinched waist, and then these huge fucking childbearing hips and thighs. And Velma's also got dem thighs, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's thick. She's thick in the best way.
I think they're priming everyone for the new Velma series, I guess.
I've always been partial to Velma, so I'm just like, goddamn, Velma, yeah, get it. So, it's definitely horny. Oh. It's definitely horny. I just can't wait for they need to be brave, and they need to overtly sexualize Shaggy. Because to my knowledge, they haven't overtly sexualized Shaggy yet. And that needs to happen.
I kind of like Shaggy just being his own dude.
Yeah, just kind of being,
I like Shaggy as an ace icon.
Oh yeah, isn't that like a thing where like is that like a big like a fan embrace theory, or did like somebody at some point actually confirm? Because I heard that like Shaggy's ace. I've heard that before. I'm not sure where it came from.
I was just kind of bringing it up because he kind of feels like one to me. I remember in Mystery Incorporated where he was with Velma, it always kind of felt weird, and I was like, I don't know, these characters, they're good friends. I don't know why this is weird. It's kind of just like, I think it's just kind of Shaggy doesn't feel like he needs to be sexualized. Shaggy's just Shaggy doing his own thing. It's not really what he cares about. He just likes hanging out with his dog and eating shit.
Well, I mean, there's different ways to sexualize a character. You could sexualize Shaggy without making him a sexual being, He could just be really fucking hot.
Yeah, you can objectify Shaggy.
Yeah, you can objectify Shaggy. Hey, objectification is not inherently a bad thing. I'm just going to put that out there.
Okay, there's our hot take to end on this Christmas episode.
People like looking at other hot people. No, I'm for equal opportunity objectification.
That's
what I'll leave it at.
Fair.
Equal opportunity objectification. Well, this has been our Rise of the Guardians review to kick off Doug and Cheer.
This is a weird one, and I think it's going to be
This is going to be I think I'm going to put it out there. This is going to be an all-timer for Tongue and Geek.
Really? I think so.
Yes.
It's definitely one of our most rambly ones. I don't think we really had anything to go off of with this one.
I didn't know what to expect because I know you liked this movie for you to put it on the list for this year, but I didn't know how much. So I wasn't I was expecting how you were going to react when I said I don't think I like the movie that much.
I'm not... You know what's weird is the first time I saw this was when I was senior year of high school. I went on a cruise, and I got super duper freaking sunburnt one day. Like, I slept in the sun and woke up and like, oh no.
Of course you did.
And like the whole next day I had to basically just lay in bed and do nothing because I was so sunburnt and I couldn't move without hurting myself. And the movie they had on the cruise that was free was Rise of the Guardians. So I basically watched that on loop for a day. The first time I saw this movie was just Rise of the Guardians over and over and over again. I was like, well, I guess I know this movie backwards and forwards now.
I hate that I understand that feeling because when I was on my one cruise that I've been on, the CGI children's film that was on loop during our cruise was a far inferior film by the name of The Good Dinosaur.
Oh no! Yeah, yep. I'll take Rise of the Guardians over that any day.
So yeah, you lucked out on that.
Didn't I warn you beforehand how bad that movie was, and then you guys went on that cruise like immediately after?
It was around about the same time.
I think I saw it in theaters. I'm like, man, that
chose.
I was like, man,
it's not like we knew.
I know, but I remember being like, oh man, that movie sucks. And then you guys went on that cruise, and you come back, and you're like, we were stuck with The Good Dinosaur forever.
There's like 3 to 4 movies that were on a loop on the cruise television, and none of them were good. So we couldn't pick like a mediocre movie to just have on a loop. It was just all shit. Like, and we had to pick the least smelliest shit.
Let's just go ahead and put out our Good Dinosaur review. Bad. It's bad. It's stupid.
Bad movie, not good.
Good background.
Interesting background animation choices, but other than that, it's possibly the worst Pixar movie. I don't remember Cars 2. That seems to be the pick for worst Pixar movie.
Yeah,
but,
Cars 2 I feel is like more as entertaining, at least with its absurdity. Anyway, that's it for our Rise of the Guardians review.
Wait, no, that's not it. I have one more thing to say.
Okay.
I haven't seen the film yet.
Okay.
But in Wakanda Forever, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, they CGI'd Namor's dick out of the film.
What?
They CGI'd his bulge.
What?
Out of the film.
What?
Yes.
Why? Yes. Like, okay. You're gonna have to clarify. You're gonna have to clarify. Did he have a dick slip that they didn't catch until post-production that they had to take out? Or was his big swinging cock just so obvious beneath his costume that they had to reduce it with CGI?
The second.
Okay.
If anybody knows anything about Namor the Submariner, he's basically the most nude Marvel character in comics history. All he is a Speedo and little white wings on his feet. And they're pretty close to that in the new Black Panther movie. Props to them. But the actor who plays him, I want to get his name right, so let me Google it real quick.
Tanaquerta?
His package was, I guess, a bit too distracting in those tight green Speedos. So in the film, they had to CGI sand off his bulge.
Give us the
yes.
Release the bulge cut. Release the bulge cut, Marvel.
Bulge.
Stop being cowards, Marvel. Release
a Namor bulge. A Namor the Submariner bulge is true to the character because he is a cocky, arrogant asshole. So his penis being front and center is only true to the character.
Big dick energy.
Come on, Disney.
Big dick energy.
Stop making things less horny, Disney. Make things more horny. You have this giant cinematic universe, which is the most popular franchise in the world, filled with beautiful people.
Some of it needs to be porn. Some of it needs to be
and none of them are horny. Like, none of them are doing it.
Oh, boy.
Marvel Cinematic Universe, get hornier. That's all I'm asking.
So thank you for listening to Tongue in Cheer. Interesting start for the holiday season.
Join us next time. Whatever the fuck next is on the schedule. Probably Earth of Christmas.
Yeah, and remember, don't throw your baby in the trash.
And don't send off Namor's bulge. Good night.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.